in the country are finally making some progress in acquiring gainful social services during their integration process. Cognizant of this, the United States of America, through its embassy, signed a grant agreement with the Gambia Food and Nutrition Association governor. The grant amounting to $435,000 is expected to set the stage for the start of a project aimed at boosting the income capacity of 100 refugee families from the southern Senegalese region of Casamance through the provision of agricultural training and technology. The project also seeks to empower women and other refugees with labor-saving production.
African women are some of the hardest working individuals on earth. They get up early, they go to bed late, they do the they do the breastfeeding, the home cooking, the gardening, the marketing, et cetera, and with the smiles on their faces and with a positive attitude.
Officials of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees say the American Embassy has been partnering with them in similar initiatives.
If I may remember, this is the second time that they have come in to assist us again in the refugee program, besides what they are giving to UNHCR.
For the body charged with the responsibility of implementing the project, they will deliver the goods expected of them.
It's an important gesture to assist in the livelihoods of a very vulnerable population like the refugees in the Gambia, especially those in rural areas.
Life as a refugee is not anyone's choice, and there are no tolerable levels of suffering. This is why there is greater need for partnership like this one to make the lives of refugees a dignified one. With the aid of collaborating bodies, much can be achieved. For GRTS News, I am Deku Mademba.
The National Environment Agency has been bracing up for the implementation of projects worth over $8 million. The funds provided by the Global Environment Facility are meant to bolster efforts aimed at protecting the environment. Well, after consultations with stakeholders in rural Gambia, NEA officials Monday converged on the Brikama Area Council for the final consultative meeting ahead of the validation of a blueprint that will determine projects to benefit from the package. Mamadou Lamin Sise has more on that, as well as the presentation of coconut seedlings by the World Fund for Nature to the Youth in Action Group.
Environmental sustainability is number 8 on the list of primary concerns to the world, the MDGs. The phenomenon is a global concern which spares no country. Statistics show that third world countries emit less greenhouse gases but are most vulnerable to the effects of climate change. While developed countries are yet to agree on a legally binding treaty, developing countries are not relenting in their efforts to secure funds to reinvigorate adaptation strategies. The National Environment Agency has used its tenure on the Global Environment Facilities Board to secure an unprecedented funding package.
The Gambia has been allocated $8.7 million on GEF STAR funding. STAR is a system of transparent allocation of resources. What Jeff does in that is that he looks at country, and each country they allocate a specific amount for a specific amount of time. In Jeff round 5 STAR funding is 2011 to 2016.
The sum is coming into the coffers of the NEA for the first time, and in view of the complicated nature of climate change, the agency is adopting a participatory approach, allowing those in the grassroots to contribute to the development of a national portfolio formulation document which will define how and on what projects the $8.7 million will be spent. Here in Brikama, a similar meeting is underway. Although this meeting is yet to end, NEA's Research and Development Manager has a clue. The most pressing environmental concerns threatening livelihoods will be addressed first.
We have 4.57 million on land degradation. There is no doubt in the Gambia that our land is a problem. Our yield, the yield we have from the land has dropped, and that's affecting our livelihoods. And there is increased land use. So we have funding for that, and we are going to engage in projects in that area. We have 2 million for biodiversity. Yes, there is no doubt that we are losing a lot of our biodiversity. A lot of animals that we used to have, we don't have it. Even 3 species that we used to have, we don't have it.
The governor of West Coast Region, Lamin Sane, told GRTS that attitudinal change on the side of the citizenry will be crucial in efforts to adapt to the inevitable change in climate.
Have to put their hands on deck. I always see here people will say, this is the business of, how do you call it, forestry department. It's the business of the environment, or it's the business of the area council. This is everybody's business.
Strict law enforcement is one of the weapons environmentalists have been using in recent times. With the acquisition of the multi-million-dollar funding package, I asked the Paramount Chief the role that the National Council of Sefolu will play in dealing with perpetrators.
Anybody found to do that? I think a few weeks ago you have heard what my colleague of Opa Nyomi District Sefo have done in respect of such unscrupulous people.
A related development, the Minister of Forestry and the Environment, Jato Silla, presided over the presentation of coconut seedlings donated by the Worldwide Fund for Nature to the Youth in Action Group, a voluntary organization working to protect our beaches from coastal erosion. The donation, which according to WWF Director General is part of the annual tree planting exercise, is earmarked for a pilot project in the Kanifing municipality. Those implementing the project are urging young people to be friendly to the trees to ensure their sustainable growth.
So we want the community this time to participate and know that these coconuts are for the community. We want the participation of the community. We want everybody at Serekunda KMC area to see this coconut as theirs.
For the Environment Minister, it is the moment to act collectively against the threat posed by climate change, noting that while his office will always be ready to forge partnerships and mobilize conservation efforts, Gambians, he stressed, must know that the task is all-inclusive.
Every individual has a stake in this climate change era. Either we work together to ensure that the future of our children are secured, or we all go down because of climate change. And climate change is a reality.
Keeping the environment safe and sound is an integral part of efforts aimed at ensuring human existence, which depends by and large on the way we manage and exploit our flora and fauna. And as the world continues to get warmer, countries, especially those that are most prone to climate change, must be adequately prepared to adapt to the situation or mitigate its impact. For the consequences of an ever-changing climate will be devastating. Modulamin Sisa, GRTS News.
The hike in the demand for certain food items during the month of Ramadan at times drives traders to raise prices. Despite numerous calls to the contrary, shoppers are still complaining about skyrocketing prices. Asit Bajansar was at the Banjul's Albert Market and she reports the price hike has triggered an outcry.
Ramadan is Islam's holiest month, observed by Muslims the world over. The period is marked by a month of fasting and prayers. The month of Ramadan of recent has been characterized by a high rise in prices of basic food commodities, causing some outcry in some quarters. At the Banjul market, women can be seen carrying their shopping baskets, roaming the various corners of the market, not because they don't know what to buy, but according to some, due to the fact that they are finding it hard to find the desired cost for some of the items in the market. Madam Jan, a family woman, lamented the high cost of basic food commodities during the month of Ramadan, which she said is of great cause of concern to many people. She said that prices of food commodities before the Ramadan was largely affordable compared to the month of Ramadan. For all the difficulties, we have little choice but to find a way out of it and buy what we can afford, she said. Like Jan, Fatoumata Toure also feels the same, saying a lot more needs to be done to help poor people, particularly during the month of Ramadan. For a month as holy as the month of fasting, people, especially Muslims, should learn to be helpful and full of mercy, she concluded. Shoppers mostly blame the high rocketing prices of food commodities on the greed of vendors. But this is not the case for Omar Jah, a vendor at the Banjul market. Jah told GRTS that the high prices of basic commodities does not emanate from the vendors, but with the merchants who import into the country. He however said that they are left with no choice but to increase their prices when wholesalers do so, as they also want to maximize the little profit they yearn to make. Ajisar, a fish vendor, also shared the same views with Omar, for she too said she is forced to increase the prices of her fish. Due to the high prices, she normally buys her fish stock. Aji told GRTS that the skyrocketing of food prices is having a heavy toll on all families, especially the poor, who are compelled to spend all their meager earnings in observance of the obligatory